Right, you see this? This is the money river. It's the mythical flow of product ideas and it's where all the best 7 to 8 figure marketers, they go into this stream, right, and they swim in it. And this is like the Ganges River. They get the best ideas from this river of insight. And with just one offer pulled out of this stream of ideas, it's as if they were panning for gold and the dark lords of internet marketing, they smile at them and say, "You, my friend, you're the blessed one." And with just one idea, one VSL, and one supplement in hand, they begin to print millions of dollars and escape their 9 to 5 job and to basically say goodbye to this guy, this obnoxious man over here, the guy that you probably have to deal with every single day if you were to work an office job. So, as a result, with the power of their laptop, they have money printer at hand, and they're probably going to be sitting in a Starbucks, smirking, looking at their sales, $10 million, $1 million, and this is the rise of the underground internet marketing operator who drinks from the river of insight. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to create this stream of ideas so that you never run out of product ideas to sell, marketing angles to use, and you're always staying ahead of competition, even with the rise of AI. And what you're going to have is this in your hand. You're going to have a money printer, right? You're going to dip your hands into this river of insight and going to go brr with your money, right? Of course, this is hyperbolized, and of course, there are some caveats to this, but we'll go into that later, right? Today, in this presentation, I'm going to be talking about how you can choke on a fire hose of research for your D2C brand, your SaaS, your e-com, or whatever it is, right? So as long as it's a dopamine-driven ADHD offer that you want to sell to an industry, this is great. And what you're going to be getting here, you're not going to be getting any old school copywriting stuff. No, hey, figure out this 7 point checklist for your headline. No, 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 no. I've tried that. I got my ass burnt. So this is what I've done instead, and how I've learned from my mistakes. And for today, I really mean it when I say you're going to choke on a fire hose of ideas. You have infinite ideas and rabbit holes that you can go down, and your head should be spinning from all the possible angles and nerd holes that you could go down. And at the end of this video, you'll also get a free report, no email, no registration, no anything required, that will allow you to organize, sort, and rank your entire research workflow using all of the strategies that I've shared in this video. With this guide, you'll be able to beat ChatGPT into giving you the secrets of the universe and getting an unlimited stream of advertising angles, all for free. However, I just want to preface that yes, sounds like a magic pill, sounds like you're going to be super smart tomorrow or maybe yesterday, right? But you'll only be able to harness the full force of this research guide if you watch this video and understand the principles that go into developing your own research methodology. Okay? All I ask is that you like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends, and especially if you just found it a little bit entertaining, right? Spread the love. Okay, so big ideas for today. Number one, why mining ideas on Reddit is not going to cut it anymore in 2025. Number two, how to start going upstream in your research so you stop taking a guru's sloppy seconds and you start to learn how to cook your own meals. Number three, you're going to learn how to do research from researchers and not marketers. Wow, shocker. Number four, okay, number four, backward looking, forward looking, and momentum driven research. Number five, insights on product selection and strategy. And number six, hopefully this is entertaining for you as much as it is for me, right? This is fun. So, who's this? Who am I? And who is talking to you? And yeah, my name's Xander, and this is part of my ongoing effort to empower advertisers with good decision-making principles. My focus is on risk, data engineering, portfolio management, and bringing in these concepts to a wider audience to promote math-based tools to grow advertising revenues. So what I've covered here is completely separate from my client work and my studies in school, and in no way reflects the opinions of the school that I'm studying at. So for the past 2 years, I've been obsessed with understanding direct response. In fact, I've been in direct response for about like 4 years at this point. And I've gotten decent results for clients, multiple offers done over 6 figures on email traffic, some offers doing okay on cold traffic. But more than my successes, I think it's also important to talk about my failures as well, and the mistakes that most people don't talk about. And I realized that, a lot of the time people give you all the solutions and stuff, but there are things that I had to relook in terms of my own, way of writing copy or designing offers and stuff like that. And I just want to be able to help people to see what is actually happening when you like use these strategies and to put it in a bigger perspective, right? And whether you can actually take on the risk. But that's for another video. Um, in the end, this led me to learn to appreciate risk because you can just copy some guy's stuff, but then there's this like shit inside the stuff that you copy, and then it blows up in your face. You're like, oh my god, what happened, right? So what happened was that I started learning more about risk, blending it with direct response. And this actually led to my decision to return to school to get a degree, double majoring in sociology and quantitative finance. So today I'll be sharing with a process with you to help you find winning hands and to gain a systematic edge in markets for yourself through research so that you can launch 8 to 12 products a year with your eyes closed and your hands tied behind your back. Again, I want to emphasize this. Disclaimers: this is for educational purposes only. It does not constitute any investment advice. I do not take any responsibility for any results that come from the use of this material. So please proceed accordingly. I run this to speak to the right people who I think are a good fit with my personality, and that's about it. And if anyone enjoys it, great, fantastic. Otherwise, your next guru next door in the fucking thumbnails or whatever in the suggested box might be better fit for you. So if so far everything's great, cool, stay for the video. But if you feel like, oh my god, this guy's fucking obnoxious, just leave. It's okay. It's okay. We have other things to do. I got other things to do too. Just go to your next guy. I'll see you. But if you're still here, let's go deeper into who's this for and my vision with what I want to do with all of this work and sharing this information with you. Okay, so super simple. You're looking to dump $1 million to $10 million a year profitably on cold ads without melting your face off, right? That's it. Or in other words, clear, methodical, profitable thinkers that have just happened to stumble into direct response advertising for ridiculous profits and enjoy printing money on cold traffic. Maybe don't take themselves too seriously, right? So today we are going to look. My previous video, I talked about which trends were worth going into. So this is 50 minutes long, a crazy video. But out of that, we need to figure out having a new stream of trends, and then, trends is like three little matryoshka dolls that we need to unpack. So I've done this. Today, we're going to talk about how to develop that stream of new ideas that you can start to use to grow your business. So this is today's video. And let's put that together. So to solve this problem, we're going to have to think a little bit out of the box. Who are the best people that deal with large volumes of information, right? Just like swimming in it, okay? The best people are, the answer's on screen, and I'm begging the question. It's the quants, it's the finance bros. This was taken from my Godel terminal. Basically, it's like a $60 Bloomberg subscription, other than made by Martin Shkreli. Crazy. Right, but okay, so basically it's a data aggregator that helps you pull company data in order to take long or short positions in companies and help with your valuation efforts. And if you pay attention, it's very, very similar to the problems that we're dealing with in direct response, right? The question is always, will this idea pump, right? Is this going to be a fucking blockbuster, right? Am I going to get 3%, 5% conversion rates with 5x ROAS, right? And that's basically it. It's almost the same problem, right? And today, I'm not going to be a grandpa, and neither do I want to be shouting at you from some sort of mountain and telling you, oh yeah, if it's worked before, it'll work again, right? I've been burnt by this, and it's just not for me, right? And today, I want to give you the big brain tech stack that shows you exactly how to use that kind of energy and the tools that I've developed for you so that you can supercharge your research efforts. And to do this, we need to look at how ideas have been flowing since our ancestral years all the way up till today, just to understand, get a good overview for how research has been done throughout history. Okay, so we have, this is the super old school, right? Some guy goes and hunts on a mountain and he kills a tiger and he comes back and says, look at this tiger, this is how I killed it, right? And then that story gets passed down through generations, and my great 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 grandfather's story of blah blah blah, all this happened. So the only way that you could find information in the past was to have some guy on a mountain tell you that, oh, I did this. And that's where the myths started coming about. So that's the first one. Second one, so once that happened, then we got the printing press. Guy printed the press, printed books, right? Basically, it was like, oh yeah, here's books you can read, right? So once that was done, then after that we had the next leap, great leap forward, which is digital info. Basically, everything's online. Every idea, every concept, everything that you need to learn um, is online, and you can just basically scrape the fucking web, and then you instantly know almost everything. Or that's at least how people like to think about it. And lastly, now we have agentic info, right? Wow, everything computer, right? The Basically now we have an AI to help you to go through all of this digital info that also sees this and basically compresses this entire workflow. So now that we know that, right? Um, in this age, last time you need to listen to some old grandpa geezer to say like, oh right, wow, this is the thing that works. But now information is democratized and anyone has access to everything. So this means that as long as you understand how to surf and go through all of this stuff over here, what's going to happen is that the sky's the fucking limit, right? And now we go back to the river of insight. And I didn't really give you the full picture at the start for the river of insight. Where's the fun in that, right? So here's how it actually works. And here's what the river of insight looks like. This is what most people think the river of insight looks like, right? Clean, nice water from the top of a mountain, and then you can just drink anywhere. But this is in reality what actually happens um, in the river of insight. So this is you, right? This is you about to launch a new offer, about to launch a new product, and you're stumbling around. You're trying to figure out where the river of insight is, and there are like levels to the information that you have. At the top here, we have water that blesses you with divine inspiration, gives you unlimited ad creatives, offers product ideas, the raw fuel to turn your internet marketing empire into a shadow operation that prints $10 million a year on cold traffic. And the bottom of the river, by the time it's in a course, it's too fucking late. And you're taking sloppy seconds that's been used, and overused a few more times, leaving you with barely any profits to make your payroll. So, which part of the river, this river of insight, do you want to be drinking from? Okay? And the question is, if this is you, how do you climb up? Okay, it's very, very easy. Simple, but maybe not that easy. Very, very simple. Okay, you look at the flow of ideas and how they evolve and grow with time. And this entire presentation is really built on this one core idea. It's the evolution of ideas and spin, right? So here, what I have are 10 ideas just to warm up the way that you think, right? And if you can have a look at each of these ideas, they have a timeline to them. They're totally arbitrary, probably half fucked. But like the whole idea is to look at, okay, how did finance evolve through time? Why did Bitcoin suddenly come into the world and say like, oh my God, wow, fuck the banks. I want to use Bitcoin and this should be the standard. It's deflationary, right? Here are all the problems that led up to it, right? Or business modes, okay? Back in the day, it was always about infrastructure. It was about owning railroads, about oil, being the first to have economies of scale. And then now, it's different, right? So how is it different? How is it the same? What kind of moved the way that business worked from 1800 to 2025? Business model, same thing. Survival markets, prepper markets. So what were the trends back then, and what catalyzed people to take this very apocalyptic mindset? Was it the Cold War? Was it spy movies? What was it that created that entire worldview for them? Maybe even like you're looking at Wing Chun or all these different like martial arts and stuff, self-defense, right? Future of work. How are we thinking about work right now? Is it remote? Is it office friendly? What is the person that's going to thrive in 2025 and beyond? Investing, some guy, what do you call it? George Soros and his back pain. Oh, fuck, speculation. Or is it more of Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger looking for cigarette butts with one last puff inside them? And then now, are we going into more an algorithmic type of world, right? So what's sexy? What is the thing that's capturing retail attention right now? religion, astrology, cosmology, how are we thinking about how religion has evolved through time? What's the role of religion, right? Where was religion the most useful, right? Was it used in the state? Was it used to help people feel a bit certain about themselves? What kind of answers did religion give to people, and how has that evolved through time, right? So as we're looking through all of these ideas, I'm just going to keep going, right? Feel free to speed it up or slow it down depending. um, with religion, right? What did people really need out of that religion? Is the religion right or wrong? We can talk about that another time. But what did people look for in this religion, and what were they trying to answer for themselves when they went into this religion, unconsciously or not, right? Nicotine, big nicotine era, right? When the nicotine companies were trying to cover up all of their scandals, trying to cover up all of trying to put out science to make it the fact that nicotine is safe for use. How did that playbook evolve, right? How did they win over the consensus? How did they buy over judges? What were some of the processes that they used, or maybe hijacked, depending on how you want to frame it, to make nicotine so accessible, right? The Marlboro Man, the women smoking in the street, right? And then maybe looking at this in the context of, electronic devices. I just don't want to get this video cancelled. And then human evolution too, right? How do we think about, where did it go from Darwinian to like, I came from a stalk, a baby. I got delivered, from a stalk. A baby came out, and then my parents were there. They didn't even touch. To like more Adam and Eve, to Richard Dawkins. How are these ideas kind of like fighting with each other? How are they like trying to figure themselves out? So really, as you are looking into the evolution of ideas and the spin of them, it's about being able to take a very macro view on the sentiment and to see how these ideas have evolved from a very neutral observer perspective, so that you can actually see how the game is being played rather than getting played by the game. Right? That's the kind of like big brain energy that we want to bring into the research today. So, at the core idea and at the core question that allows you to sort through this basically massive fucking trove of ideas, right? These 10, each of them probably take you like a year to properly know them. Get a fucking CFA, right? This one you become a McKinsey consultant. This one you spend 5 years writing religious ads, right? This one, reading through the literature and actually reading it instead of like asking ChatGPT to summarize it for you and being a lazy fuck, right? So all of these things, they take time to learn, and it's going to be very hard to get all of the juice out of these 10 concepts, right? But the essential question is this: what pushed these ideas to evolve through time? What catalyzed it? What about the context in the world allowed them to gain in popularity, lose popularity? So here's just the very, very broad, simple brain rot overview of how we can start to think about research, right? So this is the relevance of the idea that you're searching about. This is you. This is today. We are watching this video. Oh, where am I? Okay. We are watching this video today. We're watching this video today, right? And you're here. And what you need to do with your predictions is to look 2 months and 4 months into the future and to really see how the relevance of the idea is going to change, and what are all the factors that might lead to it either shooting up, staying the same, or tumbling and falling off a fucking cliff, right? Because you better be prepared for all three scenarios, right? You're not here to predict the future. You're here to be prepared for all of these three things, that by the time it happens, you know exactly what to do. And it looks like a false start, right? This is an idea that I got from Hamptonism on X on Twitter, so it's not me. I just thought that this is a really cool analogy to think about how you can start to respond to these trends and take a more proactive mindset. Because people will always say, "Oh, I'm fucking late. I'm this. I'm that." Fuck you. You're not prepared, right? You don't fucking think through the three outcomes. So whose fucking problem is it, right? And if you're on a shortage of ideas, you're gonna be slow. You'll be behind. You don't want to be behind, right? Yeah. So that's the strategic intention as you're going into the research and digging through all of these crazy, crazy industries and really thinking about them from first principles. You got to keep that at the back of your mind. If not, it's going to be like really, really overwhelming and it feels like drinking out of a fire hose. Exactly my point. So I've included the notes below in the description, so you don't have to worry about like what it is or all the prompts and all the ways to cut up the problem, right? I just want you to listen to the thinking first. I want you to really gain an appreciation for how we are solving and framing this problem so that you don't feel lost and you don't go into nerd holes like myself. And this is just coming from my own experience from people who have asked me for like an enormous amount of proof but haven't been able to qualify what actually is good and bad proof. So you get to live off of my mistakes rent free as long as you please share the video, send it to a friend, subscribe, right? Yeah, that's all I ask. And no email, no opt-in. That's all. That's so I'm giving values done. Values done. Okay. Now time to think. Okay, so for research, there are three types of things that we want to pay attention to. Okay, so we're looking at backward looking research, right? Top promotions of the 5 years. So backward looking, forward looking, and responding to momentum. These three things will give you an edge in the market because it is not a simple, straightforward, and easy answer. And that's where the real money is, right? If everyone could do it, you're fucking behind. You're eating the dog shit at you're swimming in the shit, right? You're swimming here. You don't want to be swimming there. So with these three things, remember we are going up the river of insight. Okay? So backward looking research. We are basically creating an entire case history and we need to be able to see all of the events that have happened leading up to this specific point in time, the date of you watching or researching any specific topic. Right? You want to be able to have just a good feel of all the events that cause these massive spikes and massive dips, right? You don't have to, understand all of these tiny, tiny things, but at least just for like the crazy spikes and dips, you want to be able to know what caused that and to understand the dynamics of that, right? This was a thing that was talked about in one of the lessons that I was in, so it was really cool. Thought I'd bring it to you guys. Right, back forward-looking research. So now with forward-looking research, what are all the things that could cause this shit to spike, right, or cause it to drop off a fucking cliff, right? Have you put it all down somewhere? Have you put it down? Have you started to look at your competitors and think, okay, if everyone's gonna copy this same promotion, what the hell is gonna happen, right? Who the hell is gonna stay ahead? You don't know. No one fucking knows. But what you can do is you can think about it and prepare for that, right? The last thing you want to be doing is being caught with your pants down because you didn't think about it, right? And you, if you have time and you're watching this video, you're probably smart enough to do it. Just think and see what happens if everyone does the same thing. Who's going to win and who's going to win the most? And if you can't win, don't play the game, right? And now we have responding to momentum. What kind of frequency? What's the frequency, right? So this one is a little bit harder to play because you're gonna have to have like a watch list of like 3 to 50 advertisers, and then staying basically every day just watching whether they are scaling up or scaling down their ads. And of course, the tools are all there. Everyone knows what to do. You go your ad library and whatever, right? But in terms of responding to momentum, I want this one. You just need to be a little bit more careful because there is a few questions that you need to look through so that you don't burn your face off as you're responding to momentum and chasing hype. So first one is actually figuring out what the momentum indicators are for you as you're launching any product. Next is, can you be early or ride this trend profitably? Yes or no? That's another thing. Next, what are some of the gaps in the promotions that are running right now in terms of momentum, forward looking, backward looking? So these two, they combine together, you go for the gaps over here. And then do you think that this trend is going to die down, right? How fast is it going to die down? Would you like to avoid getting into a crowded niche? Would it be wiser to maybe look for 3 to 5 different angles, wait for 3 months, see where the market's going, and then once a specific direction or a specific catalyst has been triggered from your watch list, right? Then deploy, right? Because then you have that confirmation of what it is that's going to work. And then that's going to give you a little bit more confidence, a little bit more edge to not blow your fucking bankroll on shit that doesn't work, right? Or it's not proven to work. Then look like you get a false start, right? So this goes into the catalyst function of responding to momentum, right? And there's nothing wrong with going into a bubble. George Soros does it. I'm not sure what Buffett thinks about it, but yeah, just ride it up and get the fuck out as soon as possible. But don't depend on it. It's like a good luck charm, or like a wave, right? You're just like, ooh, and then like when it's time to end, you're just like, bye, see you guys. But in order to be able to do that and have that clarity to play this game, you need to be able to do all of these things, because when shit hits the fan, right, you're not going to be able to know whether to be in or out, and you need to have a really solid plan to look like you have a false start, right? So this is really, really essential. Again, all of these things, I'll include it in the doc below, plus also some additional guiding questions to support your research and your work as you do product research or look at launching the next offer, whether you're D2C, SaaS, health, whatever the fuck it is that you want to do. Um, got you sorted, got you covered. And yeah, okay. So now that we have these two problems, which is we have really deep industries that are a little bit hard to understand, and we got to do this backward looking, forward looking, responding to momentum shit. How are we going to manage it, right? So I took this quote from Con Roadmaps that up, right? Aiming to make real P&L keeps you away from nerd holes, right? So all you need to do is just to have, it's kind of like vibey, right? You just need to manifest it. You sit there and be like, P&L, P&L, does this help the P&L? And then if it's no, you take it and you toss it in the waste bin, right? And yeah, even Citadel, hedge fund, crazy. Follow the money, right? Look at the volume, look at the amount of money that's being spent, right? Look at the relevance or the ad spend, the total ad spend, right? You can do this with whatever tools that are online. It's that's the easy part. The hard part is like figuring out what the fuck to do with all this information, right? I've been thinking about this for a very long time, 2 years, 2 fucking years, but that's beside the point. Anyways, so aiming to make P&L keeps you away from nut holes. Okay, so now we do the big brain version of how do we quantify the P&L, right? The time to extract your edge, potential reward, and research type. So this is where research comes in, right? This is your average copywriter's dumbass checklist. Okay, too much. But this is your usual research checklist, right? I go into everything, right? It's not hard, right? Just do your fucking homework. Simple, easy as that. Then now, we look through all of this. We don't have to drill down into every one of them yet. Um, you look through them, you just put all the things down, and then be like, okay, which one's the juiciest bit of research, right? P&L, P&L in mind, right? P&L always. So which one's the most juiciest bit of research? Number one, people don't tell you this, but first things first, is my customer even smart enough to understand what the fuck I'm reading about? Because I've made mistakes where like I have tried to give technically correct answers, right? Or technically correct advertising, and it's bomb because they just really don't get it, right? So first thing is, are they smart enough to even understand the fucking research that I'm doing? Okay, so are they looking for high IQ or low IQ arguments? You can choose. David Ogilvy is not right all the time. The customer, as much as he says that is your wife and that you should, put the bet. No, it doesn't work, right? If you've actually looked at the ads that are printing, they throw that thing out of the window. Holy shit. But yeah, anyways, so next one, what are the emotions that you're looking to vent and project into the world? Because basically, half of the time you're doing copywriting or you're doing offers and whatever, half of the time you're doing therapy, right? So you need to be able to see what are some of the emotional things that are like keeping them up at night. Not so much of like, oh my God, what's their nightmare? What's their dreams? No. We're looking for them to dump all of their emotional baggage onto your ads so that they can get on with their lives, right? You are quasi therapist, come advertiser, come researcher, right? That is the best way that I've been able to create promotions for myself. Take it with a grain of salt. Again, not investment advice, education only. So how easy is this to link back to my main offer? So if I have a few products, how easy is it? How many mental cartwheels do I need to make before this research actually hits and is relevant to the concepts that I want to be talking about or the product that I want to be selling, right? Is it going to be easy to do those mental cartwheels? Is it going to be hard, right? And I think that this, of course, comes with some type of like intuition, some degree of practice, writing a lot of promotions and stuff like that. But, you're the big brain guy. I'm sure that you can figure it out. Just figure out how many cartwheels do you need to link it back to your main offer. Okay, next, what are the big themes for research? What are the big ideas that are starting to emerge and come out? So as you're doing all of this research, probably you're only going to have like 3 to 5 maybe macro themes that you can start to zoom into and delineate. So just put that intuition to good use and delineate that, right? Does this answer any old primal instinct in the market, like in a new way that you've never seen before? So as you've done your homework to look at this entire history, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, left, right, right? So does it answer any old primal instinct in a new way that you've never seen before, right? If it does, you might have stumbled into a gold mine, right? And then we'll talk about what to do to process that later. Okay, so the next thing is how would these ideas be then translated into a 5-year-old language while preserving the scientific rigor if you want to be like clean about it, right? So again, this ties back to like how easy is it to mental cartwheel all the way back to my offer? How easy is it to preserve it and talk about it in 5-year-old language? These are all questions that you can start to think about because people will always ask you, oh yeah, how much research do you have, bro? Dude, fuck, it doesn't make sense. No, no, no. You're not here to make sense. You're here to make sense to the customer. And if the customer doesn't fucking understand, you don't need to care about it, right? Just take it, throw it out the window, not P&L, not whole, throw away, right? And I love my books, right? I love reading and going down nerd holes, and it's happened to me many times. I've been wrecked because of it. So you don't have to do it. Okay, so now that we've kind of sorted and thought through this potential reward angle, um, we can look at the time to extract your edge, right? So sort out, just 3 to 5 paths that are most rewarding to you based on your strategic predictions. ChatGPT will fuck out of it, and then rank and sort the ideas based on the conviction and what you believe is the best move forward, right? Bull case, bear case, stationary case. Just be prepared, right? You don't have to be right. You just need to know what could happen. So look for all of these ranges. It's not, you don't need to, oh yeah, it's always gonna be this, or oh yeah, it's gonna be the same, oh it's gonna fucking dump, right? You are not a retail investor. You do not need a single narrative in order to make a decision. You need to be prepared for all 3 cases, and then after that, anything that happens, you're like, fuck yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Let's go fucking send it, right? You don't look for one answer, you look for 3, 4, 5, 6 answers, and you wait for which of the answers are coming out. And that's how you get your itch. So yeah. Yeah. So whatever, ChatGPT, Perplexity, fucking done to death. So final checks, good angles, right? So what do we do? How do we sort out this like IQ problem and intelligence solution to thinking about how to sort through your research so that you don't go down nerd holes and you stay anchored to the P&L. So to do this, very, very cynical, a bit pragmatic, is to do this in layers of intelligence. This was first done by Nick Verge, saw his video, thought it was great. And I think that this is just a very, very good way of thinking about it. And yeah, so credits to him for coming up with this. And yeah, so you just need to think about the levels of intelligence, right? And I think that it's not so much of like, oh, they're smart, they're dumb, or whatever. But what the key is that you need to match them at their emotional level. You can't be like, oh, why do you resonate with only these like crazy narratives that like are insane? You don't want to judge your customer for the way that they believe and see the world. You want to be able to meet them where they're at. So essentially, just really be very clear about the levels of intelligence or the levels of perception that they're able to talk about. Because, for example, in this video, right, itself, there are 2 levels of types of conversations that we're having. The first one is this like river of insight, crazy metaphor, lose weight yesterday, 9 to 5, copywriting, choke on a fire hose, very, very visual, very, very simple. And then on the back end of this video, we're talking about, okay, so what's backward looking, forward looking? We're breaking it down. So this gives you a complete range, right? So if you're looking at like lower, just simplify it, dumb it down, right? Um, Make it enjoyable, entertaining, speak to something deep within them, right? But if you need it to be rigorous, then go rigorous, right? But the question is not of like, is it right, is it wrong? The idea is the levels of awareness that you have and keeping that in mind as you are producing your entire research workflows, that you're able to also integrate this with your existing research types, potential rewards, time to extract edge, and then you're just being mindful of the entire process and putting this together, right? So it just goes like that way. But you could do it any way that you want to do it, right? Um, and yeah, just really being able to meet people where they're at. And of course, sometimes there might be some degrees of contempt, but just being mindful of that, letting that go, and then sinking into the persona or the person that you're trying to sell to, and then pricing that into your predictions of the market and all the different cases that you might have. So that is the last thing that I want to talk about. And yeah, so now that you've gotten all of this video is like 40 minutes long, 20 minutes of hype, 20 minutes of value. I think it's a pretty fair proportion. I'm sure that you can get to chat GPTing away your research problems now. But most importantly, I hope that this video helps you to think about your research and to think about being more mindful and strategic about it so they don't waste time. Even with AI and stuff, you still can be wasting time. So I just want you to really have an awareness, like a higher level overview, looking at yourself, doing the research as you're doing it so that you know where you're going and you know where you're headed, and you know that at the end of the day, no matter what happens, you are going to avoid drinking the shit water, the sloppy seconds. And you're going to be very, very clear to be able to always drink from the top where the Fiji water is bottled, right? And, of course, sometimes you might get what you want out of the bottom, right? But most of the time, it's going to be a lot better for you in the long run, for your profits, for the amount of money that you want to make, whatever, right? To go closer to the genius magical source. And yeah, I can tell this to you because I've just made things aligned for the way that I'm doing my stuff. So yeah, I have incentive to tell you this. Yeah, so I hope that it's been really useful for your research and you've been able to think about this problem clearly and get some perspective on this problem. Now, if you'd like me to, or a solution to run 8 to 12 risk adjusted offers a year with Solver, just send me a DM on X. And my goal is to bring you $1 million a year on cold traffic by banging my head against the wall and praying to the direct response gods for ideas. And then I'll be open to receive. And then when those ideas come in, I'll give them to you like served on a silver platter without you having to worry about it. But yeah. Yeah, but actually I've done like 2 offers a month before, overseen the whole process. So if you want someone to really power up your insight and to fuel that entire workflow for yourself, and create a portfolio of offers for you, just speak to me. Send me a DM on X. I'll help you. We can talk about it, and I just make sure it's risk adjusted to the levels of volatility or the levels of returns that you want to get. So yeah. Now, again, go back to the description of this video, right? Now you can read this. It's the summary of this entire document. Less hype, I promise. More substance, more clarity, more just depth, more principles that you can use to think about this research problem. All of the prompts, everything are there. Just fucking plug it in, rip it. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. And yeah, give it a like, give it a share, subscribe. Anything else that I need to do? Yeah, that's about it, man. So pleasure talking for 40 minutes, and it's very entertaining. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.